Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Akilah Weber, and I'm the Assembly Member for California's 79th Assembly District. My district encompasses parts of San Diego, Chula Vista, National City, and all of Lemon Grove, La Mesa, and Bonita. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to our California Resources Small Business Webinar, co-hosted by me and California State Treasurer Fiona Ma. I want to extend my sincere appreciation to the staff of both offices for coordinating and organizing this event. And thank you so much to our presenters today, who will be sharing with us some wonderful resources and information from the state for our small businesses. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available on my website for later viewing and sharing. As a previous city council member, I understand that small businesses are the heart of our communities and cities. You are a part of what makes each city unique. You give us jobs and financial stability to our families, and many of you also engage in philanthropic activities to improve the communities that you serve. And your revenue is a vital part of the financial stability of each of your cities. Small businesses are essential to our community. And this is why I thought it was very important to provide space to address your concerns and provide support during these very, very difficult times. We have a wonderful lineup of presentations for you. But first, I'd like to introduce someone who has been a very strong advocate for small businesses since the early 90s, my co-host, State Treasurer Fiona Ma.
Thank you, Dr. Weber, Assemblywoman, Dr. Akilah Weber, for hosting us here today. Since the pandemic started in March of 2020, I think we've done close to 300 different webinars for small businesses, nonprofits, seniors, individuals, pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and now post-pandemic, how to recover. And there are so many resources from the federal, state, local, and even the private sectors that it really is hard to navigate sometimes as a small business owner. I too started out as a small business owner back in the 1990s as a CPA. And I also served on my local San Francisco Board of Supervisors and understood that it is so hard to run a small business, yet small businesses are the backbone of our economy. And so here today, we are trying to bring the latest and greatest, best resources to all of you so that hopefully you can take advantage of some of the free money that's out there or the low interest loans that are available and other different resources. I also have set up a special dedicated email if you have any questions that we have not answered today, and that is askfiona@treasure.ca.gov. And again, I thank the staffs for both Member Weber's staff, as well as my team, and to all the speakers. I think you will really, really enjoy it. So thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you so much, Treasurer Ma. It is truly a pleasure partnering with your office to get this information out to our constituents. And thank you once again for being such a very strong advocate for our small businesses for all of these many years. I would now like to turn it over to our moderator for this webinar, my staff, Moana Alo, who covers small businesses for my office. Moana?
Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. As the member stated, my name is Moana, and I am both excited and honored to introduce this dynamic panel of presenters. I hope you can get as much information out of them as possible. First up, we have our Southern California Regional Advisor of the Office of Small Business Advocates, or CalOSBA, with the California Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. For many of us, this is Go Biz program. Please welcome Mr. Chris Earl.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, Assembly Member, as well as Treasurer Ma. I appreciate the opportunity. Kicking off here, I'm going to talk to everyone about programs coming out of the Office of the Small Business Advocate. And as was mentioned before, we are a office within the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. My role is Southern California Regional Advisor, and that spans essentially starting from Imperial and San Diego counties all the way up to Santa Barbara counties. And I also have the role of statewide procurement lead. So leading efforts around procurement, and I have a slide that'll mention that slightly. So moving on, our office, and we focus on three things for small businesses, and that's providing information and resources, as well as being the principal advocate for small businesses within the state. And so we represent their interests. And so our advocate is Tara Lynn Gray. And so she is the director of our office. And so we advise her in terms of small business concerns and needs and things of that nature. So my role plays a part in that. And then the last thing our office focuses on is resiliency for small businesses. Understanding operating as a small business in California can sometimes bring on challenges. And so being resilient is kind of at the forefront of running a business here in the state. Moving on, and I'll briefly touch on this. Our office provides funding to about 87 technical assistance centers throughout the state, which provide technical assistance, one-on-one consulting, and, and training for small businesses. And I won't dive into that very much. I'm sure another presenter, Danny Fitzgerald, will kind of dive into that a little more. And moving on into the meat of the presentation are our upcoming programs for small businesses. The first of which I wanted to just bring closure to, and that's the COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. This is the program which was providing $25,000 grants to small businesses affected through COVID. And so that program closed as of September the 30th. However, the selections are being made through November the 15th, I believe, is the cutoff date that businesses will be notified. So if you are a small business and you are on the wait list or have not been notified of award, there is the potential, and the industry is at this time making contact to small businesses and notifying them. So just wanted to bring closure and an update on that. Moving on, here we have the California Micro Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program. This program is a one-time $50 million grant allotment to provide micro grants of up to $2,500 to eligible micro businesses. And this program will be worked in conjunction with our county governments. So at this time, we have an open RFP for our state or our county governments to apply to become the fiscal agent to essentially provide the funding for the small businesses. And if for any reason a county elects not to take that role of fiscal agent, a consortium of nonprofits can assume the role of fiscal agent on behalf of that county. So, and Imperial and San Diego are aware of this, so this isn't new to those folks. Moving on, we have also the Inclusive Innovation iHubs program. We're calling this iHub Squared. This is a regional hub, RFP or program, which is aimed at stimulating partnerships, economic development, as well as job creation, but with the focus of inclusivity and reaching equitable communities as well, taking equitable approaches and reaching underserved communities. Currently, we are looking to designate 10 iHub locations throughout the state. This year we were able to advocate through California legislature, bring in $2.5 million in funding for this program. So we're looking at funding $250,000 for each regional hub. And so we're looking for equitable programs to reach underserved communities. Obviously, this program is an innovation-based program. So we really like to see some really innovative models that has some creativeness in terms of reaching underserved communities. So we're looking for some creative models there. The next program, and this one was just released on October 29th, and this is the California Venues Grant Program. This was a one-time $150 million grant program for eligible live event venues that were affected by COVID. As I mentioned, this program was opened up on October 29th and will close on November the 19th. The maximum award for this program will be $250,000 or 20% of the applicant's gross earned revenue from the 2019 fiscal year. So this program, you can go to cavenusgrant.com and you can pull up the application and apply there. The next program, and this one has not been announced yet, but will be upcoming soon, is the California Dream Fund. This is a one-time $35 million grant allotment to provide micro grants to seed entrepreneurship. So these are seed grants of up to $10,000 for aspiring entrepreneurs, or in our technical assistance terminology, pre-venture clients to go through the process of starting a new business. We will be, running this program in partnership with our Small Business Technical Assistance Expansion Network, which Danny Fitzgerald is a part of and a partner with us in that program. And so through a training program mechanism, we will be validating and essentially designating small businesses to receive the award for this program. And so this program, just look for updates. You can sign up on our website, calosba.ca.gov, for more information on that program. Moving on, and this program here is, this one has a little bit of a workforce feel, and this is the California Nonprofit Performing Arts Grants Program. This one has a bit of a workforce development feel to it. It's a $50 million grant allotment to provide grants for eligible nonprofit performing arts organizations to provide funding for use of funds like employee expenses, contributions to a centralized payment program like an ADP, or recruitment, training, and other human resources related expenses, or other employee related expenses. So this program here is really aimed at providing funding on the workforce side. And lastly, and I close here, we are the advocate and the voice of small businesses, and we focus in supply chain, procurement, e-commerce, and global trade. And that concludes my presentation. No, I'm on time limit. So please, if you want to take a snapshot of this slide, please go ahead, but I'll make these slides available to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris, for that wonderful information. Wow, you guys are doing so much. Thank you for being a small business advocate. Thank you for all the updates regarding all those various programs for the California COVID-19 Relief Program, the Microbusiness Program, the iHubs Program, and the Venues Grant. And also thank you for sharing with us the SEED program, California Dream Fund. I'm sure there are a lot of folks on today who will be definitely looking out for that information as that program continues to roll out. Next up, we have Ms. Megan Hodap, a loan officer for the California Infrastructure and Economic Development Bank, or iBank for short. Thank you, Ms. Hodap, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, thank you. First of all, thank you to the Assembly Member and Treasurer Ma for inviting me to participate. It's always a great event when we can come out and talk to small businesses, so grateful for that. My name is Megan Hodap. I am actually the Small Business Finance Center Manager for the Small Business Finance Center under iBank. So iBank is underneath GoBiz, and Chris talked a little bit about what GoBiz does, but iBank was created in 1994, in addition to our work in the Small Business Finance Center to support small businesses. iBank finances public infrastructure, finances private development, creates jobs in the strong economy, improves the quality of life for the people of California. We issue tax exempt and taxable revenue bonds. We have a AAA credit rating. We leverage state and federal funds, and we also provide green financing. So I am here to discuss the Small Business Finance Center. We have a variety of different programs to help support small businesses. The three main ones that I'll be talking about today are the Small Business Loan Guarantee Program, the Disaster Relief Loan Guarantee Program, and our COVID-19 Microloan Guarantee Program. The work that we do wouldn't be possible without our partners. We work with 7 financial development corporations. The FDCs, as we call them, were created through statute, and they help to facilitate our program. They're located throughout the state. None of them are geographically restricted. They can all assist anybody in the state of California. And this is kind of a listing of them. Through them, they have a wide variety of backgrounds. They've been in lending for a long time. And like I said, without them, our programs wouldn't be possible. So with our Small Business Loan Guarantee Program, which is kind of our bread and butter, our main program, there are a few requirements. We consider a small business anything under 750 employees. For this program, the maximum loan that we can support is $20 million with a $2.5 million maximum guarantee, or 80%, whichever is lower. For this program, a variety of eligible use proceeds from startup costs, construction, inventory, business expansion, agriculture, working capital. We can support a lot of different uses for that. In addition to that, we have our disaster relief loan guarantee program. The maximum loan that we can support in that program is $1.25 million, and our maximum guarantee amount is $1 million. The guarantee percentage on this program actually goes up to 95%, depending on what the interest rate that the lender is charging the borrower. And with this, the eligible use of proceeds has to be business continuance or to cure an economic injury as a result of a declared disaster, or a physical injury, like if a fire comes and takes down a business or something like that. In fiscal year 1920, our SBLGP, our traditional loan guarantee program, guaranteed 470 loans for a total of $223 million in guarantees. And this is just kind of a breakdown of what the ethnicity and the gender of our loan guarantee recipients are. I'm pulled out of our annual report there. And then I spoke a little bit about our COVID-19 microloan guarantees. We received a $50 million allocation from Governor Newsom in April of 2020 to help us provide more disaster loan guarantees to support businesses who were affected by COVID-19. As of 10/31, so the end of October, we have conditionally approved 1,850 guarantees in that program, which is over $81.2 million in loans. Because of these loans, businesses have either created or retained about 9,100 jobs. In this program, the average loan size is about 44%. And what I personally think is the coolest part of this program is that 86% of the borrowers are either female, minority owned, or located in LMI area, so low to moderate income. That's a target market for us. And so to be able to provide a majority of the loans to those types of businesses has been wonderful. Additionally, the Small Business Finance Center, well, iBank as a whole, supported and helped create the California Rebuilding Fund. We've seen great success in this program in reaching underserved and underbanked businesses in California. Over 80% of these loans have also gone to LMI communities or businesses that are owned by female or people of color. This program supports CDFIs who serve the smallest of the businesses who are historically underbanked in the state. To date, I believe in the middle of October, the Rebuilding Fund has provided 785 loans to small businesses for about $50 million. We do have some exciting funding coming in. The State Small Business Credit Initiative from the U.S. Treasury is being relaunched. So California is receiving an initial allocation of $895 million. That will be shared between iBank's Small Business Finance Center and the California Pollution Control Financing Authority at the State Treasurer's Office. We currently have 3 existing credit programs that qualify for the State Small Business Credit Initiative, which is our loan guarantee program, the Capital Access Program, and the Collateral Support Program at CPCFA. We're still awaiting any sort of guidance from U.S. Treasury on this before we can complete our application, but we are definitely excited and anticipating this funding coming through. So that is all for my presentation. Feel free to screenshot this. This is my contact information. If you have any additional questions, I would be happy to answer them.
What a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much, Megan. Thank you for sharing the information on your small business loan guarantee program, the microloan program, and especially the disaster relief loan guarantee program. And thank you to iBank for having a target market of low to moderate income communities. I know that's going to go very far. Our next presenter is the marketing analyst with the California Alternative Energy and Advanced Transportation Financing Authority. Please welcome Ms. Tracy Huckel.
Thank you very much, Moana. Appreciate it. And this is so interesting. And I would like to echo the other presenters in thanking the Assembly member and Treasurer Ma for putting and their staffs for putting this all together. I will go ahead and share my presentation with you all. So my name is Tracy Huckel. I'm a marketing analyst with the California Alternative Energy and Advanced Transportation Financing Authority. We are a financing authority in the State Treasurer's Office, and we exist to help advance the cause of clean energy and green jobs, green manufacturing, and the like. And so I'm going to tell you today about two programs of ours. One is Go Green Business Energy Financing. That is an energy efficiency financing program. And the second is our sales and use tax exclusion program for California-based manufacturers. So why don't I just jump on into it. So Go Green Business Energy Financing. We call this Go Green Business. The goal of this program is to help business owners reduce their energy use and reduce their operating expenses by cutting those energy bills. If you need to replace inefficient equipment, you need to upgrade your HVAC, add insulation, replace lighting, we can help finance that. Our program facilitates good terms and rates by working with private finance companies. So these are not like grants or funded by our authority. Rather, we are working to procure those good, favorable rates and terms. So you can get financing for projects of $5,000 to $5 million. Terms go out to 10 years on our programs, which of course that means lower monthly payments. We have traditional loans and leases and energy service agreements, which is where you are guaranteed a certain amount of savings, and maybe you base your payment based on your savings. We have a well-developed contractor network. It goes across the state. One does need to use an enrolled Go Green business contractor to do a project and get financing through the program. And we will soon have a very convenient on-bill repayment option where you can repay your financing right there on your utility bill. So who is this program for? Well, a business must be a customer of one of the 4 major IOUs. So that's PG&E, SoCal Gas. For you folks, it would be San Diego Gas and Electric, SoCal Edison also for maybe some folks in the county. Small businesses, seems like everyone has a slightly different definition of what that is. For this program, 100 or fewer employees, or annual revenues under 15 million, or you meet sort of size guidelines for the Small Business Administration. Those are rather generous. So a lot of businesses would fall within eligibility guidelines here. Tenants and business owners are welcome to this program, and we serve a huge variety of industries: agriculture, hospitality, retail, restaurants, and some market rate multifamily housing. Actually, I want to mention that. And some businesses that have been sort of traditionally or historically credit challenged. So cannabis and houses of worship also. So nonprofits also can get financing through our program. So that is that. And what kinds of things can you do? Oh, a whole bunch. Replace lighting, get a new HVAC, get a new water heater, and replace restaurant equipment. And a portion of the financing can go to non-energy efficiency improvements, right? So that could be remodeling or landscaping, something like that. If you had a restaurant, you wanted to put in some COVID-safe outdoor seating, you can certainly do that through our program. And you can combine our financing with utility rebates. So it's kind of additional savings. You can start to layer those and start to see really nice savings. We have 4 participating finance companies. Each one of these offers a slightly different product. what they all have in common is that they are offering through our program lower interest rates and more favorable terms, like longer payback periods than they would otherwise if they weren't participating in our program. So it's a good opportunity to get in on some good, attractive financing. And I will add that there is no lien on the property for our program. These are UCC secured. Oh, how do you get started? Go to gogreenfinancing.com. That is our consumer-facing website. It is, we like to think it's fairly friendly. There you can get in touch with a contractor in your area who can get you started. You could also just contact one of the finance companies directly and start that way. So 2 different avenues. Just go to Go Green Financing and take a look around. I think you'll be able to find your way. And we do try to be speedy and get you can get approved in just 48 hours for your financing, which is great. So what is our other program? Let's see. So the sales and use tax exclusion program for California manufacturers. This is a program, $100 million in awards each year. And this allows California-based manufacturers to not have to pay the sales tax on certain types of equipment. And this is for manufacturers who are in particular fields. So I'd like to direct your attention over here to the right side of the screen. Again, because our program is in support of clean energy, green manufacturing, and the like, we're looking at folks who are doing recycling or maybe working on alternative sources of energy or solar manufacturing. Dairy digesters are a pretty big sector of who we serve. Also advanced manufacturing and advanced transportation. So think about, electric vehicle manufacturers and plug-in stations and so forth. So you could, for example, $15 million investment on your equipment, you could exclude $1.275 million of sales and use taxes. And that's a nice savings to help you grow your concern. You do need to be a qualifying manufacturer. You need to submit an application and receive approval from the CAPFA board. And the project must demonstrate benefits to the state on both fiscal and environmental. So job support, and also a savings of energy or pollutants. 3 years to use the award, and you have to use a certain percentage fairly soon, right? So things don't languish. And there's an application fee that's due upon submittal. That starts at $250, and it goes up. It's actually a percentage of the request. So this is a very popular program. By the end of May, all of the 2021 allocation had been awarded. So this is one to keep an eye on. If you want to, if you're interested, I suggest that you visit treasurer.ca.gov CAPFA and subscribe to our listserv so you can receive alerts on when we begin accepting the application for that program. So that is all I have. And let me turn it back over to Moana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tracy. And thank you for sharing all these wonderful insights into those energy efficiency programs, as well as introducing us to the sales and use tax exclusion, or STE program, specifically for our California manufacturers. And thank you for sharing information on how easy it is to apply and the fast response turnaround. I know in a time where we all feel like it's a case of hurry up and wait, a speedy response is certainly appreciated. Next up, we have our outreach manager for the California Pollution Control Financing Authority, or CPCFA. We definitely like our acronyms here. Please welcome Gabrielle Stevenson.
Good morning. Can you hear me and see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So thank you to both offices. We just love working with anybody who has the desire to help our small businesses. So I'm with the California Pollution Control Financing Authority. We have the California Capital Access Program, CalCap. I'm going to talk about that, but just so you know, we get asked all the time, why does the Pollution Control Financing Authority have anything to do with small business? And it's because we used to issue only green bonds and big bonds to help large businesses. They took a percentage of that to support more than a dozen specialty financing programs inside the treasurer's office. So in general, you are hearing a lot of information today. There's even more information available, especially with all of the financing programs at the treasurer's office. I will say this repeatedly, please reach out to myself or my team. We have an incredible amount of people who want to help small businesses grow, succeed, and all those good things that help the state move forward. Megan already mentioned from iBank that we are working with them because $895 million is a lot of great capital to be used for small business support. The two programs housed inside CPCFA is the Capital Access Program and Collateral Support. So lots of information coming your way. Don't have to write it all down. I'm going to send you a couple of links. And again, we always have a great team to do some chat with. We could do some one-on-one chats. Basically, CalCap for small business, we just want to make it as easy as possible for lenders to loan out the money. So it's not just for businesses that lack maybe some great credit. It's also for new businesses, maybe you want to expand and grow. These credit enhancement programs make it easier for them to loan money at a more affordable rate. We do any small business with fewer than 500 employees, although we do specialize in smaller businesses. Probably 10 or fewer is kind of our sweet spot, but anything 500 or fewer. We do a lot of refinancing. We have a lot of commercial real estate, and we do a lot of bridge loans. We do not, my second biggest question that I get asked all the time, we do not support marijuana businesses at this time. So I will keep moving forward. Of course, why wouldn't it go that way? Hold on. Of course, I don't know what happened. Hold on one second. I don't know why it froze. Of course it froze. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what can CalCap be used for? We do those bridge loans, like I said, startup costs. We do a lot of working capital and especially equipment and inventory. We have been working with the businesses that have been affected by the oil spill to make sure they get those bridge loans before the responsible parties are held financially responsible for any of the problems caused by wildfires, the oil spills, or anything else. So we do a lot of those types of loans and financings. The participating lenders, I'm going to put that link on all of the lenders in the region, which there are quite a few in Southern California, especially, but they set the terms. They do all the underwriting. We just approve the loans based on our criteria and what CalCap is meant to do. Does it meet the standards? Does it meet our mandate? Then yes, but they do all the underwriting. They handle all the paperwork with the small business. We have additional collateral support that I will talk about in a minute, but we also do additional contributions for businesses that have been affected by COVID-19, wildfires, oil spills, any other officially declared event. So we're willing to work and make sure that everybody gets the money that they need. This is what CalCap looks like in this pretty graphic. The borrower, you go and you deal directly with the lender. Then once all the paperwork is done and they have approved the loan, we enroll it and everybody makes a contribution together. CalCap is a loan loss reserve program, meaning that if something happens, if there is a default, then they could be eligible, the lender could be repaid 100% of the defaulted amount. So it just makes it easier for them to loan more money to more businesses. Collateral support. This is a great program, especially for those that have they're just short enough cash to get over the finish line, get that loan done. One of the examples that I like using is a recent example. There was a chef at a Mexican restaurant who he's worked in the business for 20 years. He was very upset over the start and stop of all the COVID laws and changes. They had staffing issues and all the things. So he has a great business plan. He had a ton of experience and he wanted to start his own food truck. He could do his own hours. He could operate it with fewer people. And we gave him a collateral support cash contribution, as well as he was enrolled into the CalCap loan participation or the loan loss reserve account. So he got two things. He got great rates on his affordable loan, and he also got the cash needed to secure that loan. But they set all of the underwriting. We don't do that. We also give extra cash available to any green or manufacturing companies. And again, we do that extra contribution for those affected by negative COVID-19, wildfires, any other officially declared event. So two other great programs inside the CalCap family. We work with the California Air Resources Board for the Heavy Duty Vehicle Air Quality Loan Program. Basically, this says, if you're an owner of small fleets or have trucks and you want to upgrade to cleaner trucks, we make it more affordable. So we work with CARB. We want to make sure that you have the most favorable financing terms available. We also enroll the warranty into the financing package. And we just want to make it as easy as possible for the businesses to have upgrade to cleaner trucks and comply with the state's engine emission standards. And EVCS, it's our CalCap electric vehicle charging station program. We do this in partnership with the California Energy Commission, and we make it as easy as possible to finance EV charging infrastructure, whether it's for your customers, your employees, or any other reason to have an EV charging station. We want to support that. Not only do you get financing at a great rate, but you also could be eligible for some rebates. That is CalCap in the shortest amount of words as possible. I know it's a lot, so I'm gonna put a couple of those things in the chat for you, and just reach out to me, reach out to our team. We'll do some one-on-ones, whatever it needs, but thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much to everybody for having us on.
Thank you so much for those wonderful presentation about the California Capital Access Program, or CalCap. That was a lot to digest, a lot of great programs, so thank you. Especially thank you for talking about those bridge loans that cover so many areas. That's great. And most importantly, for that visual aid that you provided, I myself am a visual learner, so I appreciate that slide. Our next speaker is Mr. Jonathan Herrera. He is the Director of Outreach and Education for CalSavers Retirement Savings Program. Please welcome Mr. Herrera.
Thank you so much, Moana. Let me also echo my thanks to our hosts for giving us the opportunity to spend some time with you guys this morning, and in particular for me to talk about how the state is working to address the retirement savings access gap that exists in the state. And yes, of course, we're going to talk about the state's new retirement mandate and why this is an important compliance issue for all of you small business owners and your peers. So briefly, CalSavers is California's new retirement savings program designed for the millions of Californians who are going to work every day, but don't have a way to save for retirement at their job. It was created by legislation that passed back in 2016 that actually requires California employers who do not sponsor a retirement plan and who have 5 or more employees to participate in CalSavers, which we've designed as an automatic enrollment IRA, individual retirement account, with no employer fees or fiduciary liability. And I think this is a really important conversation to have, in the backdrop of COVID and this recovery, from the pandemic. First, we're looking at this job market where employers are looking to find ways to retain their employees and recruit new ones. CalSavers was designed to level the playing field for those small businesses that were unable to offer retirement plans to their employees in the past, giving them opportunity to recruit, retain, reward, and retire their employees, right? And then second, has to do with the financial fallout from the pandemic, with so many people working to overcome the individual financial setbacks caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. We're talking to employers these days who are looking for ways to focus their efforts on helping their employees improve their financial wellness and save for the future. And that's exactly what CalSavers was designed to do, to provide financial resiliency for all California workers, both in the short and the long term. So I'm going to briefly tell you what the program is all about, starting with why we're here and what it means for small business owners. And, I skipped too far. When you look at the situation that exists in the state, the research shows that half of Californians are projected to retire into economic hardship, if they can retire at all. which is really sobering when you think about it. And we think that a key driver of that is that there's 7.5 million or more Californians who are going to work every day playing by the rules but lack access to a workplace-based retirement program. And that's really important because the research also shows that workers are 15 times more likely to be saving and be on a path towards retirement security if they have access to a payroll deduction savings plan at work. Just an easy way to save directly from the paycheck, set it and forget it, saving without even realizing it. And that's what this program is all about. So knowing that the best way to get folks saving and on a path towards retirement security is through the workplace, back in 2016, the state passed this law that says that, and this is our box on the right, any business in the state that has 5 or more employees, if you're not offering an employer-sponsored retirement plan, you'll need to register for CalSavers and facilitate your employees' access to our program. So what that means in real life, businesses that have a qualified retirement plan, we're talking about 401ks, simple IRAs, SEPs, pensions. We actually have a list on our website under the Help Center that lists out all the qualified plans an employer can use. So if you have one of those plans, or if you start one of those plans before your compliance deadline, you're good to go. You're exempt from the mandate. But for everyone else, we've created CalSavers as a really simple plug and play, fee-free way for employers to be able to provide their employees with access to a retirement savings vehicle. When we look at your number of employees, we're looking at the average number of W-2 employees that you report to EDD in any given calendar year. So businesses that are up and down around 5 employees, you won't have to worry about being in and out of the program as long as your average stays at 5 or more. But then in terms of employee eligibility, we wanted to make it as inclusive as possible. So again, any of your W-2 employees, if they're 18 years or older and have a social security number or an ITIN, they're welcome to participate and should be given the opportunity. So you'll notice we're not measuring full-time employees. It's full-time, part-time, seasonal. Even folks who might be here on a visa working for you will have the opportunity to save through this program. In case we have any small businesses with less than 5 employees, we did open the program up for individual participation. So employees of very small businesses, or if you yourself as a self-employed entrepreneur or a very small business owner, gig workers, contractors, you folks can go to calsavers.com and start your own IRA account and save with us whenever you'd like. You don't have to wait for your employer to become eligible. We also like to note up front that we don't see ourselves as intended to compete or replace with employer-sponsored plans. Again, the goal is to address this retirement savings access gap. So if we see, and we are seeing it, a lot of employers going out and starting their own qualified plans, that's still a win for the legislation, because most importantly, it means employees, workers in the state are getting access to these tools that we know work. So let's talk about those compliance deadlines. We opened the program after a short pilot back in July of 2019. And when we did that, it kicked off a 3-year phased rollout of the compliance deadlines based on the size of your business. We're actually 2/3 of the way through the rollout chronologically. Businesses with more than 100 employees were supposed to register by September 30th of 2020. It was extended a little bit because of the pandemic. Businesses with more than 50 employees were supposed to register a little bit earlier this year, June 30th of 2021. So if we have any folks on this webinar in those buckets, more than 50 or more than 100 employees who haven't registered yet and aren't offering a qualified plan, please get in contact with us. We can help you get up and running and in compliance before we start issuing penalties, which you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, there are some financial penalties for businesses that are out of compliance. But the next deadline is a big one. It covers the most employees throughout the state and in San Diego County. For businesses with 5 or more employees, you'll have until June 30th of 2022 to figure out how you want to comply with this mandate. We're ready to get you started. These next, 8 months is going to go by faster than we think it is. So it might seem like it's a long way away, but it'll be here before we know it. But we're ready to get engaged with you and get you up and running and in compliance before that deadline. So please reach out to us. I'll have some contact information up in just a minute. Dialing it down a little bit closer, in San Diego County, we've identified more than 18,000 eligible businesses in the county, representing 452,000 employees. This is the 3rd largest county in terms of CalSavers eligibility in the state. So potentially huge impact in the Assembly Members District and in the county. So, again, please reach out to us. We want to get you guys up and running and help San Diego County folks save for retirement. When we designed the program, what we wanted to do was create a program for small business owners that is easy to facilitate, that comes with no fees, right? And that does not bring the traditional fiduciary responsibility that qualified retirement plans that are employer sponsored tend to do. So, again, easy, free, no liability. I'm going to repeat that a few times just so employers know the benefits of this program, right? But when I say that we try to design it to be as easy as possible, compliance comes in 4 easy steps. If you don't offer a qualified plan, right? You handle your qualified plan on your own if that's the way you do it. But in terms of CalSavers, all you've got to do is register by your state required deadline, take a few minutes to set up your account. So you'll tell us about, who at your business is our main contact, a little bit about how you do your payroll so that we can help you get that set up. But ongoing responsibilities for employers, all you have to do is submit and maintain a roster of your employees. So when you hire new folks, you add them to your list so they get the opportunity to participate if they want to. They can opt out if they don't want to. And then for those employees that don't opt out or that do decide to participate, you'll just continue to facilitate their contributions directly from their paycheck to their IRAs as part of your existing payroll process. And, we've got a few thousand employers have already signed up for the program, and we've seen all different types of payroll arrangements. By and large, the CalSavers process fits in really seamlessly with an employer's existing payroll process. So again, connect with us and we'll make it as easy as possible for you. How do you do that? This is how. So we've got our website and our call centers are up and running and ready to help you out whenever you're ready. Dedicated lines for employers and savers, multilingual support available both on the phone and on the website. We even have dedicated onboarding and field teams that can work one-on-one with employers to get you up and running. The field team can even do presentations either online or at your place of business for your employees so that they understand the program and that you don't feel like you have that responsibility to educate your employees about the program. And then, of course, we do that live in webinar format all the time. We do webinars every day of the week. You can go to calsavers.com/events to see a list of those webinars, but we go deep into the details on what those employer responsibilities are all about if you decide to facilitate CalSavers. And then, of course, we'll walk you through the process on how to do that. So, hopefully this is enough to pique some interest in the program. And again, we're no employer needs to go through this journey alone. Please feel free to connect with us and we'd be more than happy to help you through the process. But with that, Moana, I'll turn it back over to you to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I love that term you mentioned earlier in the beginning, financial resiliency. I mean, after the year we've had, resiliency is definitely something we all live now. This is such a great resource for those small and micro businesses. And thank you for offering support for sign up. It looks so easy. Why wouldn't folks want to sign up for it? Next on our list of wonderful panelists, needs no instruction, but I'll do it anyway. Please welcome our local business strategist, Mr. Aaron Burgess.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Let me share this presentation. Okay, cool. So I am a former county grant administrator. My passion is to help people find funding for their businesses and different strategies in that sort. And so I have a little bit of expertise on how you can get funding from the county and get those private-public partnerships. Here's my email here. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, and I'm happy to help. Okay, so there are 3 types of grants at the county. There's the small business stimulus grant. This is for any business that's not a 501c3 to provide funding. It was introduced as relief from the pandemic. A lot of people face hard times. There's also the neighborhood reinvestment program. And then there's the community enhancement project. So the last 2 are actually for 501c3s, so nonprofits. Then I'll go into what each one of them does. So the neighborhood reinvestment program is mainly for tangible purchases. So if you want to buy 10 computers for students, or you want to, replace your flooring, or you want to buy a vehicle, you can do all these sorts of things with this neighborhood reinvestment program grant. The community enhancement project is a catch-all grant. So this can be programmatic things. You can do salaries, everything that the NRP grant can do, but more, right? So it's kind of a catch-all. The interesting thing about these 2 is that the NRP grant has more funding, but it's limited in its scope. So more people are applying to the CE project grant, and that money gets sucked up pretty quickly. So first you'd have to decide or figure out what county district that you live in, right? So there's 5 districts. I happen to live in the 4th district, where the chair of the county has jurisdiction. So if you go to his website, you click the community tab, you can see the 3 grants at the bottom. You have Community Enhancement Program, Neighborhood Reinvestment Program, and the Small Business Stimulus Grant. So if you click on these things, it has all the different criteria and the application and all the steps that you need to apply. So as part of a strategy, what you'd want to do is get a hold of somebody who is in charge of grants. We call these gatekeepers, right? So what my job was to do was kind of walk people through the grant application process, tell them our strategy, get to know them, and then they submit the application. And then what I would do is make a recommendation to the county chair. So if you can't get a hold of the person in charge of grants, just find somebody on staff who works for that particular supervisor, let them know what your plans are, and then you know, ask them to refer you to the grants administrator in the office, and then you schedule an introductory meeting. All right, so this is just to get to know somebody, let them know kind of what your plans are, tell them that you're going to apply. You know, I spent a lot of time meeting with folks who had the intention of applying, but one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you actually have the meeting quick and then start on the application. So when you do have this introduction meeting, you want to ask what the supervisor's distribution strategy is. So for District 4, the strategy was always have an equity lens and a youth component, right? So folks that were that had projects that had, you know, that impacted, you know, folks of color, people in the neighborhood, the urban neighborhoods, those sorts of things. These are the things that kind of were prioritized. And then if you look at it from the perspective of an elected official, they're trying to build relationships with community members and kind of have like a, I wouldn't say quid pro quo, but they're making an investment in the community so that they can strengthen their constituency base. Another thing that you can do, another strategy, is to partner with other supervisorial districts, right? So if you are housed in District 4, your actual business, but you actually affect, you know, a couple other districts. Let's say you affect District 2 and 3. What you can also do is reach out to the administrators from those other 2 districts and kind of see if they can collaborate and get you more funding. This is something that we did a couple times. And then from there, you want to just ask them what their strategy is. Like I said, for District 4 was an equity lens. How many people would you benefit? And then a youth component. So in applying, you want to just go through the website, decide which grant fits you best, create a checklist for the application process, and then write a cover letter. So your cover letter is going to include your diversity statement, your youth component, and how many people you're going to affect. And you know, in this document, you can also kind of talk about how you know the elected official, how this would benefit the elected official, how you'd be so thankful for it, you know, make them love you. But one thing is, if you do plan on applying, do it quickly because funding can run out. The next thing that you want to look for, that you want to consider, is that when you when you're thanking a elected official after you get a grant, you can't put their name. You can't specify which elected official that you're thanking, because this is kind of, I think it's Board Act, Brown Act violation. They're like finance laws that this kind of affects. So there's an example of somebody who got a car from a supervisor, but then they wrapped it and they actually thanked the supervisor and put the name on there, and then they had to spend more money to unwrap the car because they didn't comply with the funding rules. And then after that process, the county kind of takes over, and then they're the administrators after that, and you get your funding, and then you can leverage that for your organization. So that's it pretty quickly. If you need help with any of these things, feel free to reach out. to me via email or on social media, and I'm more than happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aaron, for being an advocate for San Diego. It's great. It was great to hear about these programs that are available, such as the Small Business Stimulus Grant, the Neighborhood Reinvestment Program, as well as the Community Enhancement Program. I especially appreciate your walkthrough that you provided, really providing that information about the process. So thank you so much for that. Our next and final presenter of the afternoon, many of you may know, he is the Acting Regional Director for the San Diego and Imperial Small Business Development Center, or SBDC, Mr. Daniel Fitzgerald, or Danny to some. Please welcome.
Good morning, everybody. So thank you, Moana, for certainly for moderating. Thank you, Treasurer Rahman, Assemblymember Weber. Certainly do appreciate the opportunity to come and talk today. And so, as Treasurer Rahman, the Assembly member mentioned, and Chris Earl also from GoBiz mentioned, we're really kind of winding into kind of a next phase in terms of the pandemic. While there's certainly, there have been many different types of relief programs, now it's kind of looking into a lot of different types of things that certainly could be coming up. And so all of these different types of programs that you've heard from, you're going, okay, this is a lot, this is very complicated, things like this. How the heck am I supposed to navigate that? Well, that's why we exist at the Small Business Development Center. We're funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, also from the state of California through the Office of the Small Business Advocate at the California Office of Business and Economic Development. And so we provide free services. And what do? We predominantly provide one-on-one business advising. Throughout San Diego and Imperial, we have about 120 expert advisors that we pay from these funds to be able to assist you, to be a mentor, to be a coach, to be a guide, to get you through, obviously, these processes that were explained or any other types of business strategies. We also have a whole bunch of webinars, both recorded as well as live, kind of trainings, walking you through a whole bunch of different types of things. Obviously, through COVID, many different webinars and all the different relief programs that have been out there. But certainly now going forward, a whole bunch of things in terms of your business strategies and everything that you need to be able to kind of think and take advantage of. And so what is it that we particularly do? Well, over the last fiscal year, which is the federal fiscal year, we helped over 6,000 clients and helped them access over $205 million in capital. We also helped 220 businesses start. And also we're reaching the people who need to be reached the most. That's what we're here to be able to do, to be able to provide that types of service. But mainly it's through that number there, that 19,624 hours. That means that is an hour that one of our business advisors is working with one of you, small business owner. These are examples. These are the people that are amongst our community that are able to be successful. From a pharmacy to pharmaceutical solutions, to a restaurant, or even to someone doing cybersecurity type of work and so forth. So really seeing the different types of support, and this is the types of assistance we're able to provide. So there is still one federal program that's out there that's available. And that's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, sometimes known as EIDL, and so forth. It was actually the first one, and it still is going on. And that's really the program that has been kind of the longest standing in terms of any types of economic injury that happens. So these are the same loans that come about if there were wildfires, earthquakes, or so forth. But right now, it's still specifically in terms of the COVID program, these are some of the enhancements. So in other words, these are a couple of the timelines for it. So a lot of times, so folks maybe have only gotten $150,000, then maybe they were given the opportunity to increase their loan to $500,000. Now many businesses are able to increase their loans to $2 million. The advantage for this is a very low interest loan, only 3.75% for small businesses, but it's amortized over 30 years. So that can be very flexible for you. You can use that to pay off any of your existing debts. You can use that really to kind of use that for working capital as you're getting your business back re-ramped up. And so there are a couple of documents that may still be needed. If you need some particular assistance, that's what we're still here for. So really, as we move into 2022, we're really here to kind of go from that first aid station as you were going through that pandemic, really to be, again, your small business wellness center, to be able to help you in all sorts of different ways to be able to grow your business. And so we have a lot of different types of programming all over the place. And these are to support, obviously, the programs that are already there, that were talked about previously, but also in a lot of different ways, from being able to work on your accounting, on how to access capital, how to be able to move your business online, to enhance your sales plan, to access government contracts and so forth, be able to get that types of assistance, or even to be able to start your business. As Chris Earl talked about at the beginning, the DREAM grants, those DREAM grants are going to be done through different types of intensive training programs. So when that program rolls out, we'll have specific training programs that if you're an entrepreneur that hasn't started your business yet, it'll be those trainings you can go through to be able to access those particular funding solutions. And so to access our services, it's straightforward. You just go to our website, sdivsbdc.org, and you can either select on one of the different types of trainings, which is one of those buttons there, or you can just select the button, Get an Advisor, and that's going to be able to get you the one-on-one business advising that you're going to need. Again, we're funded by the federal government, by the state government, to provide no cost assistance to you, but these are not people that are just anybody. These are expert business advisors that are able to assist you to really be able to grow your business.
Thank you so much for that informative presentation. And thank you for showing the variety of businesses that can benefit from the services you offer, especially the key programming offered. I want to thank all of our presenters for their time and the wealth of information and resources that you have provided this afternoon. For the attendees, if you haven't taken notes, don't worry. We will have the slide deck available to you all. I'd like to now switch gears and start our Q&A session. I want to thank all the registrants who provided a great variety of questions for our panelists. We will try to address all of the questions that were submitted. And so as we go through this, panelists, feel free to answer within your capacity. I know some of the questions that were submitted have been answered during your presentation. We'd just like to reiterate. And if we could keep the panelists who are answering the questions to about 1 or 2, okay? Our very first question: what are some mistakes and pitfalls within the first 5 years of owning a business? I will repeat. What are some common mistakes and pitfalls within the first 5 years of owning a small business?
So I'll go ahead and start on that one. I think the number one pitfall is in terms of making sure you're tracking all of your finances. The financial reporting is super critical. That's probably the number one reason we see businesses have issues or failures or so forth, is not keeping track of their financial records. And I think that because that's everything from understanding their expenses to understanding their pricing and so forth. That's continuously the biggest problem that we see.
And I'd like to just add, Moana, as a CPA, again, thank you, Daniel, keeping track of your finances, but really hiring a good bookkeeper to keep track so that when it's time to file, you're ready to file your taxes. And depending on the type of industry, you may have to file with different agencies. And so if you forget or don't file like your form with the Attorney General or the Secretary of State, it could set you back. They're going to start charging you interest and penalties, and then your license will be suspended and it'll take forever. So try to find some good financial help upfront.
Thank you. Thank you for those responses. Our next question is, what free marketing services are available for small businesses? Again, that question is, what free marketing services are available to small businesses? Any takers?
I think from the CalSavers perspective, my recommendation, if you're just looking for resources around marketing or just support in general, I would definitely look to your local SBDC. Danny, oversees the network here, and so if you get in touch with Danny, I'm sure he could, connect you with one of his 120 advisors over the region. So I'm sure there's many of them that have the expertise in marketing and could probably direct those businesses in the right direction.
I would say, Moana, get out there, network, meet more people, join associations and different groups, affinity groups, to get your message out. That's how small businesses actually grow, is by that networking and making sure you're out there promoting what you're selling or making.
Wonderful, wonderful. So basically do what we're doing today, getting out here, meeting folks. Awesome. All right. So this next question is actually a two-part question. What is your vision for small business involvement for California for 2022 and beyond? And then in your opinions, what are the critical technical areas where small business solutions can be optimized?
I'll jump in first on this one. At least from my perspective, and I'm a little bit biased here because I lead procurement for the state, but I think, obviously with the federal infrastructure bill being approved recently and pending signing from President Biden, there's going to be a lot of federal dollars coming that'll be, coming for small businesses in the areas of procurement. Up and down the state. And so there's going to be a lot of a lot of funding and opportunities for small businesses to get into that sphere of contracting and federal contracting. So the back office and technical assistance and support that's needed to get those companies at a point to where they could competitively go after those opportunities. Working with partners like Danny Fitzgerald and his team, as well as the PTAC, which is also under Danny's umbrella. Working with those organizations can help get those businesses in partnership with the Source Diverse Source Local program. We're aimed at kind of taking advantage of those opportunities, as well as, I've counted maybe $30 billion in contracting funds over the next, 2021, over the next 8 years. That are going to be directed to small businesses, anywhere from local, state, all the way up to the big things like Olympics that are coming in 2028. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Southern California small businesses to get in the game that way. And now's the time to get prepared. So I'll get off my soapbox now.
And I just want to add that. Yeah, I just want to add that we have a lot of money coming from the U.S. Treasury also with the SSBCI, but technical assistance is going to be one of the areas that will be funded. And I think this is going to be a golden opportunity for businesses who want to either start, but grow and expand and do something new, or maybe make the changes that you've always wanted to make you a stronger business. Support even more so than now. So I think it's going to be one of those, get connected with your lenders and other economic development groups now. And as soon as we have that U.S. Treasury guidance, we will make it well known. We'll spread it out and share it to everybody in the state. But there are some unique opportunities that will come that we haven't seen since 2001 and 2011, when we did the first coming, more so than now.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
And Moana,
Next question.
Moana, keep in touch with our office, with the Assemblywoman's office, with others, because we are always putting out information for small business owners. Like today, I just tweeted out that the independent grants is still available. So don't forget, the California Venues Grant Program is open now until November 19th to support eligible independent live event venues that have been affected by COVID. So we are all trying to get the information out. Sometimes you have to be ready because when the program does open, it's competitive. And sometimes when you apply and you think about it, you're like, oh, okay, I have until the 19th. The money has been expended. So we really recommend that you stay in touch. Join as many free webinars, talk to your SBDC, our GoBiz, our offices, so that you're prepared when that, that grant or loan is available.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That's wonderful information and really great to make sure they stay connected with our offices.
Moana, I just want to jump in just to have our treasurer kind of key on something that she just said, because sometimes people do feel like, if that's when the deadline is, that's when I need to have it in by, but not necessarily understanding that people are getting the applications approved from the moment that it opens. So can you just kind of reiterate that again? Because I don't think a lot of people understand that.
Yes, so getting that application in as soon as that opens is definitely key, folks. It's like getting in line first.
No, I think
the early bird catches the worm.
No, that's a great point, and I'll add to that.
Oh, I think you muted yourself.
Sorry, working with the lender or the funders for these programs, if there are issues or things that weren't completed appropriately or whatever the case may be, it's better to kind of work through those issues on the front end of the application window versus, the day before it closes, a document, you double thumbed something and something's off on your form, and now your application is kicked back, and then there's no window for you to fix it because the window's closed now. So I think, those kind of small issues are things that we, uncovered. And hey, you may not have something, you need to go find it. You may need a day or two to kind of get some documents or tax, information or whatever the case may be. And so giving yourself that margin or that buffer to just unexpected, things. And so I think that's very smart and prudent to get that application in as quickly as possible.
So what I hear is don't procrastinate. Okay. Our next question is, how do you build a business credit rating separate from personal credit? How do you build a business credit rating separate from personal credit?
Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, so I'll go first, then I'll go to let the treasurer go. As a CPA, she probably knows it better than me anyway. But it's short, they are fairly intertwined. I think that's the most important thing to understand, is especially as you start out, that your personal credit is going to be critical for quite some time. And you'll even still need to be providing, even with a fairly experienced business, what they call a personal guarantee on a loan. But how you establish that is very similar to any other types of credit. Just like how, so let's say someone who's a recent migrant to the US or someone who's a young adult doesn't have credit at that point in time. It's not as bad credit, it's just no credit. And so you establish it by getting loans in the business's name, but you also want to make sure that it is registered under the business name, under the business EIN, and make sure your business is structured properly to ensure you're able to establish that type of credit.
I would definitely agree. Try to keep things separate. You're going to have a EIN number for your business that is separate from your own social security number. And so try to apply for, different loan programs, open up your checking account, your bank account. If you can get a line of credit, those all establish credit separately from your individual credit score.
And I want to thank you guys for that. That will conclude our question and answer session. If you submitted a question and we were not able to answer it, please reach out to our office. I will put my email address in the chat so that we can follow up with you. And now I'd like to turn it over to Fiona Ma for any closing remarks.
Oh, I was just saying, Moana, you did a great job emceeing this very informative program. I hope everybody got something out of it. If not, again, please feel free to reach out to my office. My email is askfiona@treasure.ca.gov. And I want to thank my colleague, Assemblywoman Dr. Akilah Weber, for co-hosting this webinar with us. So thank you so much, Assemblywoman.
I want to thank everyone for participating on this very enlightening and engaging webinar. We truly had an all-star lineup here. It's very, very, very important information that was given out. I hope that we were able to address a lot of your concerns, but even more equally important, I hope that we were able to introduce all of the programs and grants and opportunities that you have for small business owners and nonprofits, and for people who are considering to become small business owners from both the state and the local level. We appreciate our small business owners. We want you all to be as successful as possible along with our nonprofits. And so from a state and local level, we're doing all that we can to make sure that we are supporting all of your needs. Just want to remind everyone that this webinar is being recorded and will be made available on my website and other social media platforms. So, if you weren't able to watch it all, you can always go back and start from the beginning. If you know of someone who's interested in becoming a small business owner or who is and was not able to attend, please forward them the link. I want to thank, of course, my wonderful co-host, Treasurer Fiona Ma. I want to thank our moderator, Moana. You did an amazing job, and all of the wonderful presenters and panelists today. Thank you to all of the attending. Please know that my office is working diligently to assist you with all of your state agency needs, and you may reach out to us as well if you have any further concerns or questions. I hope you all have a very good afternoon and that you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Goodbye.
Well.